See, I'm so
I'm
bad.
gonna mute myself.
Okay, I'm so bad at remembering to record. Um, yeah, Anne has an amazing story and she tells it really well. So Team PCS, listen up. This is a really great way of, capturing people's attention and sharing your story from the heart. But truly, Anne, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us tonight and share your Juice Plus story.
Yeah, okay. So, well, thank you for inviting me to be on your team call or your team Zoom. Christy is actually the one who first told me about Zoom, and so I'm still a Zoom baby. I've done a couple Zoom calls with my team. We're doing them weekly now. But so my Juice Plus story really started 9 years ago, which is long before I ever heard about Juice Plus. I remember it just like it was yesterday. I had a house full of guests for Christmas, and I got a phone call that changed my life in a second. The call was from a surgeon, and he said, "I'm sorry to tell you this, but you've got breast cancer." And what made it so hard was that 2 days earlier, he told me at the hospital that the lump he had removed was benign. Well, it turns out on further review, it was cancer. I had a cancer inside a larger benign lump. So when they first looked at it, chopped it, they saw the non-cancerous part, and then when they looked at it more closely, they found the cancer. So he had the good fortune of calling me right before Christmas to pop my bubble, and I went from high to low, and I thought what probably any cancer patient thinks as soon as they hear that word is they think they're going to die. And at that time, I had just sent my oldest son off to college. This was 2006. And my younger son was a sophomore in high school. And so I thought, I will not see them graduate. I will not see them get married. I will never hold my grandchildren. And it was horrifying. And I had all these guests, and I had to try to hold it together for the weekend. And so once that initial shock wore off, and I was in shock because I didn't even have a distant cousin who had ever had breast cancer. And I had just been told a couple weeks earlier that my mammogram was normal. So the cancer really came out of nowhere. So once that shock wore off, I went into research mode, went to conferences all over the country, trying to figure out what in the world allowed cancer to develop in my body. My husband and I are both physicians, so we went to medical conferences, mainly about lifestyle and cancer. I read everything I could get my hands on, and we were shocked that so much pointed back to nutrition. When we were in med school, we probably got about 15 minutes of nutrition. And we were told, when you get older, you're going to get high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol, cancer. And these are the prescriptions that you need to hand out to your patients to help them deal with those problems. There was nothing about preventing any kind of diseases. So we came back home, and I dramatically changed the way we ate. And he had to eat that way too, or else he had to learn to cook. So we became vegetarian and then vegan, and I bought a juicer, I bought a Vitamix, I started making green juices and green smoothies every day, and went along like that for about 4 years. And then, thank goodness, I met a cancer nutritionist, and I said, "Oh, good, what else can I, look at my diet, how am I doing?" And she said, "Well, you're doing great, but there's one other thing that I think everybody in the world should take, but especially somebody who either has cancer or who is at risk for cancer," which is everybody. And she told me about Juice Plus. And they recommend 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables. I was getting at least 15. And so my initial thought was, well, why in the world would I need something like this? But then I looked at the ingredient list, and I looked at all those things. And as good as I was trying to do, I'm not getting peaches in the winter. I'm never getting beets, because it's like, well, I've kind of grown to like them. But elderberries, bilberries, where do you get those things? I've never seen them. And I had learned from my research that it wasn't just the quantity, it was the variety, and that everything contributes something unique to your, they have unique nutrients, and they all contribute to your overall health. So I said, well, we're doing pretty well, but maybe we could do even better. So ordered Juice Plus. Both my kids were in college at the time, so they were both free through the Children's Health Study. And we had really low expectations. We were already doing really well. So, and my husband was actually kind of skeptical. And I remember having to put the capsules by his plate and make sure he would eat them. And it was probably about a year later that he said to me, you know, I think there really is something to this, because I haven't even had a sore throat or a cold, and we're both in primary care. That means that we get coughed on and sneezed on and all that all day. And he was getting probably 3 or 4 colds a year that would turn into a sinus infection, and he would need antibiotics. And so now it's been 5.5 years, and neither of us have had any illness, even a cold. Everybody's got more energy, better recovery from workouts. My kids both did sports in college and really felt like they were bouncing back from their workouts better. Connor, the Marine infantry officer in the Marines, well, you guys know as military spouses how tough that training is. And he was, he really felt like it was a big part of him recovering quickly. The biggest thing for me, though, was that I had this joint pain from my cancer treatments. I had to get my ovaries out and, put me in instant menopause in my mid-40s, and that ages you and it makes you feel achy. And then I had to take these nasty estrogen blockers, and my hands and my feet ached, and it just made me feel old. It was a constant reminder of everything that I'd been through. And it had been there for so long, I just assumed it was permanent. My oncologist told me it would be permanent, and it disappeared. And I felt like it kind of gave me my life back. It wasn't a constant reminder every day of what I'd been through. So at that point, I couldn't really keep what I'd learned to myself. And so I started sharing with some friends who had sicknesses. I kind of eased into this slowly. I started with my sick friends. And then I thought, when they started thanking me and telling me that they were feeling better, that their kids were healthier, then I thought, who am I to keep this from other people? And so it took me a while to ease into the business, even though I became a rep from the beginning. I wasn't looking to add anything at all to my life. I was the medical director at 2 different colleges. I had a very, very busy schedule. But I also thought, I had so much belief in the product at that point, I thought, how can I not tell people about something that could possibly save their lives? So I always thought that after my kids got out of the house that I would go back into full-time practice, but my cancer diagnosis changed my priorities and really my focus in medicine. And I've become really, really into nutrition and how it impacts your health. And I'm really all about wellness and prevention. And that's not what the typical medical practice is. So Juice Plus was able to kind of fill a need or fill something that I was looking for. It started as a hobby, a little fun hobby, and it snowballed into something that I really love. I didn't go to my first conference for 2 years after I became a rep. And that's when I kind of got the big picture. I saw the incredible high caliber people who were drawn to this business from all walks of life, and so much positivity and so much encouragement. People like Christy, who, she's helped me over and over, and she's not on my team. I'm not on her team. And I love that there's no competition, that we all want to help each other. I don't get that in my other job. When I go to medical conferences, people are complaining. They're looking at their watch. They're pretending they have to go to the bathroom to get out of the room. It's just drudgery. It's an obligation. I mean, you think about these conferences we go to, it's like it's the last day and you're like, are you kidding? It's already over. And everybody's making plans for the next one. It's just awesome. It's like this big old family reunion. We can do this around our busy lives. And I think, I love that we're able to pick the people that we work with. I've partnered with some longtime friends, but I've also made some incredible friendships and people whose paths I probably would never have crossed, if it weren't for Juice Plus. So last May, I was able to leave one of my medical jobs so I could focus more on Juice Plus. I had 3 part-time jobs that were turning into like 2 full-time jobs. And so that's been awesome, because my goal is to get to NMD sometime this year, hopefully by St. Louis. And, the the other thing that it took me a while to appreciate was the residual income. It's not a get rich quick plan, not scheme. It's not a get rich quick business, but that's why it's so solid. The things that are, promising you instant money, that's not sustainable. And this money, when I think about when I retire from my medical job, the only thing that I get is whatever I've put away. But with this, it comes in every single month for the rest of my life, as long as I'm doing this. And that is an incredible retirement plan. So it took me a really long time to get the big picture and to recognize the value of having a team. And, that by reaching growing a team, not only is it more fun, but it's also, we're going to be reaching, exponentially more people, because we all know different people. And you also make more money. And I am enjoying this extra money. We've been able to do some incredible vacations and home renovations and give away more money than we ever, have been able to do before. And, I can't believe that if somebody had told me 6 years ago that this would be something I'd be doing, I would have laughed at them. But it is something that I think about when I go to bed at night. I think about it when I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I'm so excited about it, I'm thinking about it all night long. And, that's what we want in life, and it's not that I'm unhappy in my other job. A lot of people fall into this because they are unhappy. I'm not. There's nothing wrong with my other job, but it does not light my fire like this does. And that's what we need to find in life, is something that we're passionate about. And if you can find something that you're passionate about and you get paid for it, that is just the absolute best. And so I can't wait. The other really big thing that I really love about this is the time freedom that you can get. My kids have chosen such unconventional paths. You guys know, as military people, somebody else joined us, as military people, that, my child is not going to be living nearby. And when I have grandchildren, I want to be able to up and go. So anyway, that's the story.
Oh, the nuggets. They're so good. I made a bunch of notes.
Oh, some nuggets. Well, you told me if I had any nuggets. Do you want any other things that I kind of learned along the way?
Yeah, I would love, that was one of the things I was really hoping to hear from you.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't really, do that in the story. Okay. Here are maybe about 10 things that I thought of this afternoon things that I've learned. Don't spend too much time when you're training new reps. Make it quick, because it overwhelms them. It's not duplicatable. They think that they can't do it. It makes the business too hard. And I've seen so many people, myself included, on my team, who with totally good intentions, they sit down for 3 or 4 hours with somebody and tell them everything they know about Juice Plus. And then somebody says, whoa, I don't have enough time to do this. So, we're launching people in, 20, 30 minutes, for starting, and that's been really helpful. Also talking to your new reps, about just keep your mouth shut until you're trained, because what's the thing that most people do is they want to run out and tell everybody they know, and sometimes they burn their bridges with the people who are closest to them because they're saying too much and they're not saying it the right way. And we're doing some friends and family calls where you get a group and all that. Ask your customers how they would like to be communicated with, whether that's calling them or emailing them or texting them, how often. And the same thing with your reps. One thing, by the time you're a Q, you have a pretty large team, and you have part of your job is to work on team dynamics. And sometimes you can hear, situations between different reps. And somebody the other day said, she's just hounding me too much. Her sponsor hounding me with good intentions. So ask them how much. Just keep in mind, you don't have to have all the answers. You're not supposed to have all the answers. We have resources that are free and that are just so readily available to us. And it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not sure, but I can find the answer and get back to you. And then think about what that tells them. That tells them it's okay for me not to know. And remind them, we work as a team. Let me ask my sponsor. Let me ask whoever. That's really reassuring for new people. Get to events. Of course, everybody knows that. That's really important. It took me 2 years to go to my first event, and it just totally, turned the light switch on. You'll leave inspired. You're going to make great sideline friends, and you're going to really see the big picture. I heard a term recently, and I know I was guilty of this, of being a professional audience. I love trainings. I love to go and take notes and notes and notes, have notebooks full of notes, and then, or listen to videos, or listen or read books. And then what do you do with that information? It does you absolutely no good if you are running your business exactly the same way you were before. The purpose of trainings and personal growth books is to make changes and to look at what your stumbling blocks are and make some changes. So my goal for this year, one goal for this year, is when I go to a training or hear a training or read a book, is to what are 3 things that I'm going to do differently, and put those things into practice. Don't do too much for your reps. Don't do too much for your reps. With good intentions, sometimes we handhold a little bit too much, and they become so dependent on us, and they think they can't do it without us. And I was terrified to do my first presentation. I was terrified to do my first call or anything, because I was very dependent, and that's no fault of my sponsor. She's awesome. She knew I was afraid. So I heard a call the other day, and they said that the top earners in the company in all of network marketing, not Juice Plus, typically were kind of thrown out to do it themselves. In a lot of cases, forced to do presentations on their own, so it gives them a sense of confidence. Okay, well, we know that this is a business of roller coaster ups and downs and emotions, and everybody gets those negative thoughts where they are scared and they're frustrated and they're overwhelmed and they doubt themselves and they doubt the business. The best cure for that is activity. When you plan something and you get it on your calendar, you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself, and those negative thoughts start to fade away and go away eventually, and then doing those activities becomes a habit. It's just, okay, what are we going to do this week? What are we going to do this week? And then the last thing is just being respectful of other people's time. It's be professional, and when you call a prospect, ask them, is this a good time to talk? When you if you call your sponsor or your downline, ask them, is this a good time to talk? Our team, we like to work more on appointments, and with Voxer, you don't have too many people just calling out of the blue anymore. But I think that really sets a precedent of boundaries, so that people are really not taking advantage of each other. Those are my tips.
Those are great tips.
Well,
I'll definitely be making that list for the team.
Well, I'm sure you probably didn't learn anything, but
No, I did. I love the, I do consider myself a professional audience, because I'm very diligent about taking the notes, and then I don't always apply things. So I like how you said pick 3 things. I'm actually going to go back to my pageant boot camp and see what 3 things were my big takeaways. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I just, when I heard that, I was like, oh, you're speaking to me. I hear you.
You're speaking my language. So I have a question for you, Anne, because this comes up in my team a lot.
Mm-hmm.
One currently is, how do you approach someone who is currently going through chemo, or who just got diagnosed with cancer? Because you want to be able to share this gift of health with them, but you don't want to make it seem like you're targeting them to try and make money off them either. Mm-hmm. And also, to extend upon that, is how do you feel about Juice Plus and chemotherapy when a doctor doesn't understand it? What would you?
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of doctors don't understand it, because they think, because they're trained that supplements, as in vitamins, can undo the damage that chemo and radiation are supposed to cause. So it can be a stumbling block. My oncologist actually likes Juice Plus. He is on Juice Plus after I brought it up with my joint pain. I think of it as something that you can, protect your healthy cells. And I've had, the chemo was incredibly toxic. I actually did not do chemo, and that was a little controversial. I had, gone to all these conferences, and I knew how powerful food was, and I kind of put all my eggs in that basket, which is partly why I went so crazy with the eating. So I think you're never going to get somebody, I don't ever want somebody to lose confidence in their oncologist, because that could be, bad. I think I've given people brochures, does your oncologist say you shouldn't eat salad? Well, actually, sometimes they don't want them eating raw that's been sitting around because they have bacteria on them. Well, we know Juice Plus is really clean. Usually when they know that it's just fruits and vegetables, there's not a problem. Or ask them, could you, would they watch a video? Usually if a doctor knows that a patient is really serious about it and has done their research, I like to show people that David Katz 1-minute YouTube video, or, Kim Dalzell's 2-minute, she's my sponsor, the 2-minute video on, going through chemo is like being in the tsunami, and Juice Plus is the palm tree that they're holding on to. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's a really good one.
But it is tough, because they have to have confidence in I think something that's even easier for me is after they're through that treatment and they're in survival mode. Because when you're finished with treatment, you are like, okay, what can I do to keep this away? Or that's the way you should be thinking.
Yeah.
And I think Juice Plus is incredibly important, because people want to feel like they're doing something to control the situation. I know what you asked me. How do you bring it up?
Yeah.
Well, it's easy for me to bring it up, because I can say, I'd love to share something with you that has made a dramatic difference to me, that I heard about from a cancer nutritionist after my diagnosis. Are you open to learning more? You don't want to come out of the blue if you don't have a relationship with that person and have them, think that that's why you're after them. I think it kind of depends. Have you been a giver with them or a taker with them, and maybe spend some time, showing them that you care, take them to come sit with them at chemo, or bring them a meal or something where they know that you're in it for the right reasons. And I like your verbiage, Christy, that you shared at the Paget boot camp. I don't care if you say no, but I want you to, kind of prefacing things.
Yeah. I want you to know everything before you say no to me.
Yeah. I want you to know everything. That's it.
Yeah. Pam, do you have any questions? Cause I've got like a whole list. So I want to first.
No, I don't have any questions. I just have a ton of notes, just because I thought it was, I love your demeanor. I love how you're so calm about it, and you're just like, it makes sense, and I can't not share it with you, because obviously I care about you, and obviously it made a difference in my life, and I want to help you. So I love that. And then I also wrote a lot of notes about how, you weren't unhappy. You're not unhappy in your medical jobs, but it's just different. Like, our community is so different, that it almost feeds another part of your soul. And I think it's important, because a lot of people are missing that, especially moms. They're missing that part, because you give so much of yourself to your family. You kind of put yourself on the back burner, but that doesn't mean that you can't also feed parts of your soul that need nutrition. Yeah. I just have a ton of notes, but thank you.
I want a young mommy on my team so badly. I have felt for the longest time that that's the difference. That will be getting me to NMD, because I think it would be so rewarding to be able to help somebody either stay home with their child if they wanted to, or work less, work part-time to be able to stay home. That would be so incredibly rewarding to me, but still contribute to the family finances, so.
I'm adding you to an event that's coming up this week right now. So hold on just a second.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you ever wanted us to talk to anybody or do an event where you can invite people to, we have a lot of moms who have done just that. Who
so awesome. My problem is I'm a several decades older than y'all.
You don't look it.
Oh, but and so I'm like, okay, some of my friends' grandchildren.
And that's where you should go. Yeah, say, hey, what are your grandchildren up to these days? Oh, she's staying at home with her babies. That's so great, and just build that relationship.
Yeah, I do have a new mommy on my team.
Oh, yay!
She's a registered dietitian and she wants to cut back at work. And,
Oh, that's awesome.
and so, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so I just added you to this event. It's on Wednesday at 12:30. I don't know if you can make it or not, but it's going to be recorded. I'm doing it.
I have my military mom lunch that day.
Perfect. Well, you do that. We'll get you the recording, but add your new mom to this event so she can see what it's all about. Okay.
Okay. Tell me. I don't want to take up your time. You can tell me about that afterwards. But
Yeah. It's
okay.
Moms on a Mission. 4 moms sharing their story.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Yeah. Let me know about it. I'll forward it on to Lauren.
Cool. One of the last questions I have for you, Anne, and I'll come up with more, but like the most important, because I feel like you did just cover a lot, is what do you look at as far as the future and Juice Plus for you? Like, what do you envision? What do you dream? What is this business going to do for you long term?
Well, this vision is, what I want to get to NMD, and I probably will continue doing my one job for a while. But once my kids are where they are and once I have grandchildren, I want to just do Juice Plus. And I want to, it's the flexibility and the time freedom and being able to take off when I want to. And, as good as my job is right now, I'm the only doctor. I do get the summer off because I'm at a college, but it is almost impossible for me to get off. And I don't like that. And, so I just can't wait to, just to be able to have that opportunity and really get other healthcare professionals on board. I have a lot of doctor customers. All my doctors take Juice Plus, and they refer people to me. I have I have my endocrinologist, a hypothyroid. She is a rep, but she, doesn't do what I want. But what I really would love would be for it to become standard of care for cancer patients, because my real heart is with cancer patients and with kids. So to have people get it from the get-go and have cancer patients, because there's so many cancer patients who give up on their potentially life-saving treatments, whether that's chemo or radiation or estrogen blocking stuff, because they don't feel good. And, if something so simple as swallowing a capsule could keep them on those things, how awesome would that be?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, good one to end on.
Yeah, with less than a minute to go.
Hold on, Patton has a question. How do you approach a doctor?
Doctors are people too. Doctors have the same health problems that non-doctors do. So don't be putting them up on a pedestal. People want doctors to be their reps. I don't think doctors make good reps because they're too busy, to talk. I think they could be retailers and help with a lot of volume. So I would never turn it down. But as far as team building, that's not going to happen for the most part. But, I think it for me, and my doctors who are customers, they're taking it for themselves first. And then once they saw benefit and liked it for their family, then they've started sending some patients to me. So, I think, they struggle. My oncologist, I had to do the Juice Plus effect survey, and he told me his constipation was better. And I was like, oh, that's too much information. I'm like, I don't want to know that.
That's awesome. Perfect. And you're so good at answering our questions and speaking so passionately. Can't wait to see you up on stage as a national marketing director.
Oh, I hope it's not that interview thing that you had to do. As terrifying as the speech would be, that would be even worse because you can't.
Yeah, it was a little stressful, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Are you going to be at conference, Pam?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
good.
I try not to miss a conference now. We are